magic in the air. Wands float around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show.
I never get tired of that song. Good morning and welcome. It's 8 o'clock on the dot here at Site B, broadcasting live. It's me, the OGGM. It's Wednesday. It's time to take a look at what's going on with our friends over at Wizards of the Coast. And Wizards of the Coast dropped the Q1 numbers at the beginning of this week and very subtly chose not to mention that they dropped the Q1 numbers. But let's take a look to see if 2025 is being a good year, a bad year, or a mediocre year so far for our friends at Wizards. Now, let's say publicly, more negative than positive in regards to how people are looking at Wizards now that the dust is settled on 2025 D&D and people are beginning to realize, oh, wait. And now we're looking at the new Creative Commons SRD because, yes, the new SRD is under the Creative Commons. Another thing Wizards sort of slid under the door without mentioning is that, oh yeah, the new SRD is now under the Creative Commons because they're still trying to get rid of the OGL, even though they can't. But what does that mean in regards to making stuff for 5e? Is that to our advantage or to our disadvantage? Because the SRD says, if you make stuff for D&D, it's ours. But the Creative Commons says, well, you can make stuff for D&D as long as you don't violate our copyright. By the way, we just made all the stuff that was copyrighted available to you. Now, I think they've since changed their Creative Commons. I'm not sure because I haven't seen it. I could, download the SRD of the open source. A lot of people are saying the open source is really good and easy to tinker with and make stuff. So that's okay. Basically, you don't need to get 2025 D&D because most of it's covered in the open source SRD. So, yeah, way to go, Wizards. Once again, just not quite sure what you're doing, is it? It's like one end of the fish pond just doesn't talk to the other end of the fish pond. And the more you try and tighten your grip over what's left of D&D, the less you actually seem to be controlling. All right, time for numbers. And that means, because you don't want to get bored looking at me read numbers, Puppies! All right. Firstly, it's a real short one because there's nothing really major. It's a pretty blah announcement. First quarter revenue increased 17%, driven by the 50% growth of Wizards and Digital. But consumer products declined 4%. Uh-oh. Operating profits reached $171 million. Adjusted operating profits was $222 million, which means we lost money, up from $74 million, which is plus 5.5 points, driven by growth and favorable mix. What does that mean in English? It means they broke even. They had a pretty good first quarter so far. Tariffs haven't affected them yet. Of course not, because this is Q1 numbers. Tariffs will affect you in Q2. Blah, blah, blah. Operating cash flow was $138 million versus the $178 million, i.e. we lost money. $98 million was returned to shareholders like myself, reducing the debt that they owe us by $50 million. So remember, they owe shareholders $1 billion, or actually almost $2 billion now. And now they reduced the debt that they owe us shareholders by about $50 million. This is doesn't include the results of the multiple lawsuits that are being filed against Wizards or the money that's owed to them by Diamond, who, in a separate story, as you've recently heard, dropped their relationship with Alliance. And Come On, CMON, also just shut their doors, leaving $100,000 worth of product undelivered. Haha, thanks for paying for that Kickstarter. You're not getting anything. The strongest growth was, what a surprise, Magic the Gathering, Monopoly Go, Peppa, Furby, and surprisingly, Transformers had a good year, or good first corner. I don't know why, but Transformers sales are up. So are the Marvel sales. I had forgotten that Hasbro did Marvel toys, but yeah, their Marvel stuff is selling. I don't know why. Marvel had the MCU's having a pretty sucky year, but I guess it's the excitement of Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four that is rocketing the sales. It's certainly not Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil's okay. It's definitely different. As a standalone, Daredevil Born Again is amazing, slow and prodding and dark, which, it should be. But as a figurehead for the MCU, not so much. But yeah, revenue decreased 4%, so beating expectations. So they expected to lose more, but they lost, still down 4%, which is still not good. You'll notice that nowhere did I mention a certain role-playing game that they are banking heavy on monopolizing as a source of their income, because it's gotten them in trouble. So we know there's at least one lawsuit against them for the inflated numbers regarding the player's handbook and other products, and there's a possibility of a second lawsuit. So yeah, they're not doing well in regards to D&D. In fact, there's no mention of Dungeons and Dragons in the Q1 report other than how it falls under the Wizards. And they still would like you to believe that because the digital is making money, Wizards of the Coast is making money. They still rely on that it is not a lie. It's a misrepresentation of the facts, because digital, Hasbro, and Magic and D&D all fall under the same part of the structure. Still, even though digital isn't even in the same building and has very little to do with the people that work in the Wizards of the Coast building, but because they both fall under the same thing, Hasbro can continue to, narrate a false narrative where, hey, look at all the money Wizards is making. Well, no, it's look at all the money digital is making. Look at all the money that's making, but it falls under the same envelope as Wizards. But really, yeah, Wizards, Magic the Gathering. Yeah, Magic the Gathering made tons of money. But that's basically the thing. So there's a lot of other numbers here, but, you guys don't want to really hear that. It's just kind of long and boring and blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, this thing made money. This thing dropped money. Tariffs haven't affected us yet because these are Q1 numbers, and tariffs won't affect us to Q2. Ha, ha, ha. But it's another way to misrepresent the truth. They're not lying when they say tariffs haven't affected them yet. They're just, hey, look, tariffs aren't affecting us. We're fine because these numbers were made before the tariffs would have affected us. The tariffs only affect Q2. And losing Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford, that hasn't affected us yet because it won't affect us to Q2. They're predicting uncertain and unpredictable global and regional economic conditions impacting them going forward, but they claim they've got everything ready to deal with that. Yeah. So all in all, Wizards of the Coast digital gaming, 462. Everything else about 20 to 100. So digital up 46. Remember, again, that's Magic the Gathering, the video game stuff, not D&D. D&D would fall under the other thing that is down 4%. Entertainment down 5%. Still have not replaced the money that they lost with the selling of E1. Still owe us shareholders, which I still am a shareholder. I still have one share of that $50 billion, of that $1 billion. That now only owes $50 million, but that's before the lawsuits. So we might end up being owed more. But thankfully, Peppa is fine. Furby is okay. And again, the big surprise, Transformers and Marvel. Now, in dropping the Q1 numbers, they accidentally also released the coming attractions for Magic the Gathering. Whether they meant to or not, we now know all the Magic the Gathering product that's coming out this year. So, for anybody who cares. All right, so Magic the Gathering starts this year, started with Aether Draft. I don't know what that one was. Then we have Return to Tick here. Remember, I predicted all the Magic the Gathering stuff will probably just be returned to things we've already visited. We've got the Final Fantasy crossover coming over. We've got Edge of Eternities coming in August. Don't know what that. We have the Marvel Spider-Man coming over in November. We're expecting that to be huge. And the Avatar, The Last Airbender cross-platform in November. So, yeah. Takir is returning again to a previous world. Final Fantasy is another crossover. Don't know what Edge of Eternities is. Spider-Man, obvious. Avatar, obvious. Don't know which one Aether Draft was. I think that was Auto Racing, wasn't it? Or Magic the Gathering, something or other. But yeah. So whether they intended to or not, here's the release cadence for Magic the Gathering. And you can see, yeah, it's pretty much what I said Magic the Gathering would be. Crossovers and revisiting old stuff, because Magic the Gathering writes itself. Literally writes itself. There's no human interaction necessary at this point. They have got so much backstock that, you know, it just literally could just pull things out of a hat. Hey, we've got to do another new Magic the Gathering expansion. Reach into the hat. Ravinica. Okay. And reach into the hat. Ravinica. And Eskimos. All right. We can do a Ravinica run about the Arctic plains of Ravinica. And we're going to introduce a new mechanic called Resurgence. It's regeneration. We're just renaming it. And we're going to do another new mechanic called Ticks. Well, it's counters, but we just renamed it Ticks because we don't need to come up with any new mechanics. All we need to do is just redo a previous mechanic and change the name. Gravebound and Dredge, are they the same? Yes, they are. Bring back banding. No D&D sneaks, though, weirdly enough. Hey, here, we're going to sneak and show you what we've got planned for the thing that's making us money. But in regards to D&D, yeah, not so much. But that's okay, because we can find out what they have planned for Dungeons & Dragons on another channel. Because we just go to EN World. And it's right there. So, look, we've got the dragon thing coming out in July, which is, as they've said to us, it's the first time we've ever gone this depth into dragons. Never before have we told you what the dragons' personalities are like, where they live, or anything about their backgrounds or ecology. We've never done that before, as long as you ignore the past 50 years and the dozen plus products we've made about dragons. As long as you ignore all those, we've never told you this. And then we've got this Eberron thing. So I guess Keith Baker has decided to associate with them again, or because I was under the impression that Keith Baker sold off Eberron. So maybe the people that do have Eberron now have decided to associate with Wizards. And I guess this is what Warforged look like now. And oh my God, that's just, yeah, I don't know what that is. That's just, I guess, trying to look like Iron Man. It just, yeah. We've got the updated starter set, has the new Keep on the Borderlands in it. But even if you missed this one, don't worry about it, because they've already said they're going to do another Return to Keep of the Borderlands, even though they have a return to keep with Borderlands. They've also said they're returning to Ravenloft for 2026. In November, we've got Forgotten Realms Player's Handbook. Again, I don't know what the relationship between Ed and Wizards is in regards to Realms. Ed's still producing Forgotten Realms stuff on his channel and stuff that has no connection with Wizards. So again, I guess, I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be centered around the Sword Coast, and they're just going to ignore the rest of the Forgotten Realms because that seems to be the part and parcel for their, post Stranger Things, post Baldur's Gate, post whatever, post Vecna storyline. The Sword Coast is the main source for Forgotten Realms Dungeons and Dragons. The rest of that stuff, nobody cares about Mulholland or Thay or Chesenta or any of that stuff. They only want to do the stuff that was cool because they saw it on a video game. And then we've also got the November 1st release of the campaign guide. So 2 books to get Forgotten Realms. Now, mind you, all the Forgotten Realms stuff is still out there for PDF under the old stuff if you still want to get it. Wizards of the Coast wants you to know that the tariffs will have minimal impact on D&D. That's, of course, false, but, they can say, hey, look, our numbers weren't affected by the tariffs. We're fine. Because the tariffs won't affect us to Q2. And Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford being gone, we're fine. Because the aftermath of that won't affect us to Q2. Possibly losing our relationship with Critical Role, we're fine. Because those numbers won't affect us until Q2. So Q1 is pretty much just a continuation of what we saw in Q4. We really don't see the meat and bones until Q2 and Q3. That's when we really see how the effect, when the OGL nonsense happened in 2023, and then the Pinkertons thing, we as people, public relations, knew how badly they were doing, but the numbers didn't really reflect that until mid Q2 and Q3. And by Q4, they had sort of leveled out, and then we found out, we actually lost you $1 billion at the beginning of Q1 in 2024, but that $1 billion loss didn't really affect things until Q2 of 2024. So everything that's happening since January isn't really going to affect the numbers till mid to end Q2. Then we will see how all the announcements and all the changes in the tariffs really are affecting the money. As a shareholder, I checked my shareholder numbers this morning, and actually down 61 cents from where it was yesterday, but up almost $3 from where it was a year ago. And again, this is probably a reflection of the numbers in regards to the biggies. Wizards Digital, Magic the Gathering, Peppa, Furby, Marvel, and a big surprise, Transformers. I can understand all those. I don't really know why Transformers is suddenly experiencing a big upswing. Maybe there's something going on overseas that is moving Transformers numbers. It's not like there's been an announcement of a new TV show or a movie or anything, but hey, I'm not going to complain if Transformers is seeing a little love. Maybe they will reconsider their thoughts that Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe don't make them any money. Marvel was also a little bit of a surprise, but with all the positive speculations that Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts are getting, it's not that big of a surprise. I can see why Marvel sales were up. Peppa still kicking ass. Furby still kicking ass. Don't know why. I guess Furby is huge overseas. Possibly a big Furby fan thing in Japan. Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I saw a Furby here in the United States or mentioned in United States pop culture, but maybe they're huge overseas. Magic the Gathering goes without saying. It writes itself. Monopoly Go and whatever other digital video stuff that they have connection to. obviously making them money because it's basically free money. And unsurprisingly, very little to no mention of Dungeons and Dragons in the Q1 numbers. So there you go. Nothing awful, nothing great. 2025 starts off pretty meh for Wizards. As a shareholder, definitely we're still kind of sucking, but not as bad as we were a year ago. With the announcement of the SRD being part of the new Creative Commons, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think a lot of people are seeing it as a good thing. We have to wait for somebody who's smarter than me to go over it legal wise to see whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. But for writers, from what I'm hearing so far, it's sounding like, hey, maybe Wizards messed up by releasing it making the new SRD part of the Creative Commons because of the way the Creative Commons was written, because they put 2024 Dungeons and Dragons under the wrong Creative Commons, if you remember. That little fiasco. So there you go. Not our normal doom and gloom, explosions and excitement and stuff. Just sort of a general meh start for Wizards of the Coast going into 2025 Q2. And that's when we're really going to see whether the events of the past couple months affect them or not. I think it will. I think they're going to mostly just skate by and continue to misrepresent the numbers, which is standard. That's nothing insidious. It's just standard business practices. You upsell the highs and you quietly try and slide the lows under the door. So whatever Wizards of the Coast does for Q2, it's going to be mostly focusing on the success of digital, the success of Magic the Gathering, the success of Peppa, and whatever else is really making them money, the pure profit product line. And they'll probably underplay that they're still losing money on the entertainment, and the Dungeons and Dragons is not making the kind of money that they need to make them. But that shouldn't be a surprise because any D&D money that's going to come in going forward isn't going to come from D&D the product. It's going to come from D&D the brand, as we have been saying over and over and over and over again. So don't be surprised. I'm still waiting for Magic the Gathering Sesame Street.
Laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show. Mischief in the classroom, potions gone astray. Flying through the quad, now brighter every day. Laughs a we cry, hearts sneaking out at night. Cloaks in the moonlight, everything feels right. That's so wizards.